Hi, I'm Mrs. Curry, your Viking librarian for Everett High School, and I'm here today to help you write your research paper. So far, you should have your research question and a list of keywords ready to go. And now we're going to begin looking for information. But how do we decide if the information we find is good or not? We don't want to fill our paper with a bunch of crap. CRAP is an acronym we use to remember that we don't want crap in our paper, we want the good stuff. C stands for currency, R stands for relevancy, A, authority, the second A is accuracy, and P means purpose. Let's take each letter one by one and decide what it means for our paper. C, currency. How current is the information you have found? If that article was written 10 years ago, those statistics and that information is going to be outdated and it is not useful for your paper. Make sure that your copyright date or publication date is within a range that works for your topic. I would suggest that most topics should be within a 5-year range, some even more recent depending on the topic. The next letter is R, relevancy. Is this source relevant to your paper? I will be the first to admit that I have padded my paper with sources that were not relevant because I wanted to meet the criteria my teacher had set for me. My teacher says 5 sources, I could only find 4, so I just used something and stuck it in somewhere. That source was not relevant and it did not make my paper better. It would be better for us to go back and look for another source. Does that article or piece of information help your argument? The other part of relevancy is it at the level that is appropriate for your paper? If you're in high school, you certainly would not want to cite Ranger Rick magazine. That's for 3rd and 4th graders. But on the other hand, you would not want to use something at the doctorate level. It's probably over our heads and we're not going to understand it. And to put it in just to sound important isn't going to help us at all. The next letter is authority, A. Does the person who wrote this information or this article know what they're talking about? The first clue is if you can't find out who wrote that information. If someone is credible, they want to get credit for writing that information, especially if they are a professional because it helps their career, and they will put their name on it. If you can't find a name, I would suggest not using it. Also, make sure that person really is who they say they are. People pretend to be something they're not. What is the one criteria you need to post something on the internet? Do you know? The only thing you need is access to the internet. Any idiot can put any kind of garbage they want out there. So we need to make sure who is putting that information out there. Do they know what they're talking about, or are they just making stuff up? Next is accuracy. How do we know if something is accurate? Well, the first test is to look at the other sources we have found that we know are good. If 5 sources say one thing, and then one source says something else, I would go with the weight of information in those first 5 sources. That's how I know that other one is probably not accurate. Sometimes it's just as easy as looking to see if they've had the time to use spell check or a grammar check. If someone has had a bunch of spelling errors or a bunch of grammatical errors in their article, most likely they didn't take the time to check their facts either. So make sure that the article is accurate. And the last is purpose. Why is this person writing this article? Are they trying to sell you something? Are they trying to persuade you? You need to be aware. Just because someone has a purpose of selling you something doesn't mean you can't use that article, but you need to use it wisely. An example, if I am buying a vacuum cleaner and I want to find a Hoover vacuum cleaner, the Hoover website will have some really good information for me, but they certainly would not tell me the bad things about that vacuum cleaner, only the good things. So I need to go into it with my eyes wide open, knowing what they're doing. We also need to think about what is their bias. Did you know that every single person has bias? No one is completely unbiased. But we need to know why these people are writing it. Is it a political post and they're trying to persuade you to believe their view? Is it a religious post that is trying to convert you? It may have good information about the religion, but you need to know that it has a bias. Maybe it is something that is selling you a bill of goods because they want you to look at the advertisements that are on their page. And so they're pulling you in with headlines that are very sensational. Be wise about the purpose. One way to judge purpose is to look at the URL. What does it end with? .com means commercial. They're trying to sell you something or they have paid for that website. .org means it is an organization. Some organizations are out there putting good information into the public. Some organizations are biased and trying to persuade you. Be aware. .edu is a very good source. It means it's an educational institution, and most likely it is peer-reviewed. It means that other people in the profession have looked at it before it was published to make sure it was accurate. And then we have .gov. Some .gov sites are very reputable, but some are political, so be aware. Know your source and what its purpose is. So by using this acronym, we can decide whether the information we have found is great information we want to put in our paper, or if it's a load of crap. Use your sources wisely, and don't forget to use your librarian wisely as well. I am available for you through my emails at joy.curry@lansingschools.net, thevikinglibrarian@gmail. I am available at my phone number 755-4459 during school hours, and every weekday from 1 to 2 o'clock I hold a Google Meet, and everyone is invited. You can talk to me face to face about your research questions. Look for the link here and also on the school website.